Today we're going to do a whole oven roasted chicken. Some pointers to remember to avoid cross-contamination is to use separate cutting boards and wash your hands consistently. You want to avoid spreading bacteria such as salmonella. To begin, you're going to take your chicken out of the plastic packaging and you're going to locate the cavity or the inside of the chicken. In that cavity, you'll find things like the neck, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, different types of organs. Sometimes they're packaged in a plastic package, other times they're loose like you see here in the video. You're very simply going to remove those and you can set them aside for other uses, but today we're just going to roast our chicken. So now our next step is to learn how to truss a chicken. For these next slides, I used Chef Billy Parisi's website to show you the steps on how to truss a chicken. He has a great YouTube channel as well if you're looking for more skills. First, place your chicken on a cutting board. Make sure it is patted dry with a paper towel. Next, you're going to season the inside cavity with salt and pepper. Fold each wing back behind the cavity of the chicken. Then you'll put a long piece of butcher twine on the bottom part of the chicken, about 2 inches up from the bottom, and pull up on each side. Cross the twine over the top of the side of the chicken legs and pull together to begin to close up the cavity. Make a figure 8 cross twine back under the legs and pull to bring them together. Then run the twine to the front side and over the top of each leg. After running it over the legs, bring the rope down towards the bottom side of the chicken. Flip the chicken over, holding everything still in place, and pull the twine upwards past the next bone. Make a knot just right above the neck bone. Pull the knot tightly together under the neck bone and then make another knot to secure it in place. Trim off any excess twine using the scissors or a knife. Some chef tips to remember: you can always truss your chicken up to a day or two before roasting it. Store it refrigerated and covered. Make sure your chicken is patted dry with a paper towel before beginning to truss it. The reason you season the cavity first is because once it's tied up, it's hard to get back in there. Make sure the wings are tucked back to stabilize the chicken, and then use a French knot to secure everything in place. So here's my trussed chicken. This time I chose not to tuck the wings in because I needed to season all of the meat, so you can do that afterwards. So here I'm going to start with my mixture of my seasonings. So I have cumin, parsley, onion powder, pepper, salt, garlic powder, oregano, and paprika. You can pretty much use them in even quantities. I just use a little less pepper. Then to that dry mixture, once we bring it all together, we're going to go ahead and add some olive oil and make a paste. You really can take any seasonings that you prefer, but this is a good blend that will give a nice, fresh, delicious flavor to our roasted chicken. Our next step, once we've made that paste, is to go ahead and now start to coat our chicken. So this is where you're going to have to get in there with your hands and really start to spread this out. If you find the paste is too thick, you can go ahead and add a little more olive oil to help spread it out. You'll notice that it's picking up a nice color, and that's coming from our paprika. Paprika is going to give more of a color more than anything, a little bit of a smoky flavor. The cumin is going to give a nice smoky flavor as well. Salt and pepper, all those great seasonings are really going to lead to a nice flavorful chicken in the end result. So make sure you get in there, get along the bottom, get along the sides, get in between the wings. The flavor will only be there if it's covering the skin. Now we're going to take this and we're going to put it into a preheated 450-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Then we'll reduce the temperature to 350 and cook until the internal temperature registers 165 degrees. During the roasting process, we are going to take our chicken out about every 30 minutes and we are going to baste it. So if we look here at the chicken, you can see that a lot of the fat has rendered off into the base of the pan. And we'll also be checking our temperatures. We want to get to 165 degrees, and here is our stem thermometer. And midway up the stem, there's a dimple, and the thermometer must be inserted at least past that dimple in order to give you a proper reading. So I want to put this into the thickest part of the meat. Now our chicken breast is always going to be the first to really cook to the proper temperature, but we also want to check into our chicken parts, meaning our thighs and our legs. Be careful when you are inserting the thermometer not to touch bone, because the bone is going to register much higher. So you want to make sure that, especially at the chicken parts on the legs and the thighs, that we make sure we get up to that 165 degrees. So we're going to put this back into the oven, but before we do that, we're going to make sure that we take our spoon and we're going to baste our chicken. So very simply, just grab some of that fat from the bottom and pour it on top. And that's going to continue to add moisture and flavor back onto our chicken and help for the final color in the roasting process. So just make sure you cover everything with a little bit of fat, and then we can go ahead and get that back into the oven so that we can finish cooking. So at this point now, I'll probably cook it for about another 15 minutes, and then I'll check my temperature again. So here we are about 15 minutes later, and again, I want to make sure that at my chicken parts of my thighs and my legs that I'm measuring at 165 degrees, which is the safe internal temperature for consuming chicken. Again, watch that you do not touch any bones so that it registers at the right temperature. Okay, so we're looking for, again, that 165 degrees. We're looking for the juices to run clear. And now we're going to tent it. We're going to just put a little bit of foil on top, which will hold the heat in and allow the chicken to rest and the temperature to even back out. And here is our roasted chicken. And now we're going to show you how to carve it. So just like you would with a raw chicken, if you were butchering it to get the pieces off of the carcass, we're going to do the same thing here. So first we're going to start by using our knife or a pair of scissors to cut the twine so that we can carefully remove it from around the chicken. Okay, just make sure you get all that twine off, that you don't leave anything behind, and you can discard that. Next, we're going to begin. Notice we have our legs, our thighs, our wings, and our chicken breast. So we're going to start by the legs, and we're going to, staying close to the cavity or the body of the chicken, we're going to start to slice this open, trying our best with a nice sharp knife to keep the skin intact because that really helps with the final presentation. When you open this up, everything should be nicely cooked. There should be lots of juices, but nothing should be pink, right? If it's pink, that means you did not cook it long enough, and therefore it would not be safe to consume. We're going to slice through in between the joints, so there should not be any too much pressure or too much trouble getting through the joints. As long as you find the space in between them, your knife will go very easily right through. Make sure that as we're working, if you notice there's lots of juices on the countertop, so you may want to stop, grab a paper towel, kind of clean up a little bit so that you just, again, always keep your area nice and clean and safe. Then we're going to go ahead, and our next step is to cut between the thigh and the leg. Again, if you get right between the joint, it'll go very quickly. Our thigh and our leg are going to stay on the bone, so those pieces are our dark meat, lots of flavor, lots of fat, really delicious part of our chicken. Now we're going to go down the center through the breastbone, or to the side of the breastbone, I should say, and we're going to follow the rib cage around so that we can start to take the chicken breast off of the carcass. And when we take this off, it should come off with the wing intact. So what we can do is very carefully, again, find that joint, take the wing off, and then with our nice chicken breast that's left, we can cut that into 3 large pieces. Okay, we'll set that aside, and we'll continue on the other side with the other breast. Again, on the other side of the breastbone, bring it all the way down, and then just follow the shape of the chest cavity. So really important to try to get all of the meat off when you are doing your carving, because you want to have all that great meat to serve. Again, we're going to go through the joint. We're going to remove that wing. And now we have separated, we have now our chicken breast, which is now our white meat, which tends to be a little drier if you overcook it. Doesn't have as much fat. It's your leaner portion, but you should see there should be nice juice. It should not be too dry. It should not be stringy if it is cooked properly. And that's it. We'll save our carcass for some stock, and here we have our roasted chicken. So if you'd like to learn more about the recipes that we're making, you can certainly follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed our lesson today.